Hello again, friends. I'm Covenant Ironface, and my partner, Drekmel Cress. We represent Team No. As we were speaking in the last video, we went to go see Huntsmen: The Winter's War, the sequel to the Snow White and the Huntsman that came out a few years ago. Yeah, let's not get back into that.
Well, it is important to note, he saw the movie and said he doesn't remember very much of it. I did not see the original movie, so we're going to take this from just this movie.
Just itself, alright.
Yeah.
Which we usually do anyways. But
we try.
Yeah, we try. So, let's hit it up. What do we got for a plot?
Okay, for our story, it starts out with our evil queen in the Snow White universe, Ravenna, I believe is the name that's given to her, and her sister doing what the evil queens do, taking over the kingdom. This is apparently before Snow White enters the picture, but she's conquering. And her sister, Freya, sorry, I forgot to mention her name yet. Her sister, which they've named Freya, foreboding, has fallen in love with, I can only assume, a peasant boy?
I think it was some kind of noble.
It doesn't explain. All it does explain is that she gets pregnant, they find out with magic, and that she meets up, or is going to meet up with him and run away with him. Even though her older sister, Ravenna, says, no, true love can never work, I'm the evil queen. Through a key event, I hate to give this away, but it is important to know for our plot.
Yeah, it's like the first 5
minutes.
It is
in the first few minutes.
Too much of a spoiler.
After the child is born, it is murdered with fire. And this causes Freya, who at this point has not displayed any magical talents yet, to suddenly gain magical powers of ice and freak the fuck out.
Yeah, I think you can kind of believe it. I mean,
yeah.
Her daughter just died.
Yes, no, that's believable. So, in response, after some time, a little bit of time has passed, she leaves the kingdom and heads to the north to start her own kingdom, I guess. It doesn't explain if she just straight out took over a castle or whatever.
I think they said she built that castle herself.
But she builds a castle and begins kidnapping children and training them to be huntsmen, to conquer the north. There's not a good time jump there because within the first 10 minutes of the movie we've gone from I'm in love, I'm pregnant, the daughter's born, the daughter dies, I've moved to the north, I've built a castle, I'm capturing children. So we're not sure exactly how much time has passed, but it explains where the huntsman from the first movie is training with other huntsmen, and they train for 7 years, and this is supposed to encompass the
time that takes up the other movie.
The time that takes up the other movie. But this is where our story really kind of picks up. Our main character has fallen in love with a... Oh, I'm sorry, the 7 years part is a little bit of a mistake. Our main character has fallen in love with another huntswoman, and through a fight gets separated and they think he's dead, so he gets thrown in the river.
Yeah, that didn't seem to make a lot of sense, but they're like, oh, well, he's dead, so we throw his body in the river.
He washes down
the river
and
shows up to the Southern Kingdom where Snow White comes across him,
and that's
where the other movie takes place.
That's where the other movie takes place, sorry, and that apparently takes 7 years. Our story then picks up with, after Ravenna's death in the first movie, the magic mirror has gone missing. And the main part, without giving away too much more, because I don't want to spoil too much, is the quest to find this mirror and return it to a place they call Sanctuary so that it can be locked up. They never made it to Sanctuary, did they? Spoilers, stuff happens. And along his journey, like to begin with now, like I said, we didn't see the first movie, but we've got 2 dwarfs join him on his quest to begin with. So they're going with him to find the mirror as ordered by Queen Snow White, and return to Sanctuary so that its power can never be abused again. beyond that, that brief overview, the rest of the story, I don't want to give away too much, but you'll have to check it out there.
Okay, so we have a couple of characters, a little bit less than the Jungle Book to deal with. I'm not going to deal with the dwarves. Those are yours. They're not main characters. We've got Chris Hemsworth. We have the Huntsman from the first movie. We have his girlfriend, wife, love interest, huntswoman. And then we have the evil queen and her sister, Ravina. It's in the trailer that she comes back, so I'm not really spoiling much. But Chris Hemsworth does really well. He does the I'm charming Thor kind of guy. He doesn't have a lot to talk about in this movie, but what he does talk about and what he does do seems believable. It's like, oh, look, I've got a quest. On to the quest because I'm the hero. And the dwarves tag along. What I really want to talk about is the queen. And I know you're going to disagree with me because we've already been talking about it. But the Ice Queen, Freya, pretty much goes nuts after her daughter dies and takes in all of these huntsmen and kind of makes them her children. Takes in?
You should redefine that.
No, she literally takes them. I think that's...
Kidnaps.
I don't think you can call it kidnapping when you kill their parents.
Loots all these children.
Yes, like I said. So she takes all of these children and makes them her army of huntsmen. But that is her pretty much defining role is, I'm crazy because I've lost my child and I need more. So as a villain, I thought she was fairly well placed. I really enjoyed her being there. And then when you pull in her sister of being, I'm the evil queen and I'm a bitch, just made it even more so dramatic. And I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really good.
I won't go too much into detail. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy the character, but I felt there was a lot more that needed to be explained. Because she went straight from, I'm a grief-stricken parent, I can understand that. I've gone to the north, I can understand that. I want a child of my own, or children. Okay, it's a little bit on the crazy end, but she's supposed to be evil. Okay, so we can understand that. I want to conquer the north. Okay, there is a big gap of crazy that you jumped there and did not explain.
But it's a fantasy setting, and it's, an old medieval setting, so again, like I was saying before, there's the, I'm a queen, I'm taking this castle, or I built this castle, and now, that's basically what kingdoms do, is go to war and take other things.
Yeah, but I just think it should have been explained more, but our other characters,
That's it for the main characters. I don't want to talk too much about the dwarves because they didn't really do much.
They didn't really do much. The dwarves are here to be dwarfs and to make dwarf jokes.
True.
There actually is more dwarfs that are encountered along the way, but all the dwarfs seem to just be there. One of the dwarfs that starts out with, now, since we didn't watch the first movie, it sounds like he knows these first dwarfs that he meets, so I assume that one or both of them may have been in the first movie. But they do not stand on their own as characters for this movie. Nothing is really explained about them other than we're dwarfs, and the one is greedy, and he wants a reward for going along the quest. That's the whole point. He inserts himself in their group so that he can get a reward for completing the quest.
Well, yeah, I can understand him not being in the first one because they explain, oh, by the way, this is my brother who came along because he wants the reward.
I don't even remember the dwarves' names. They were that I can't even think of when they were mentioned. They're like right there at the beginning. They're not important characters. They're less than sidekicks with a bit of humor to add in.
But I liked the humor that
it wasn't bad. They just need to be fleshed out more. And the dwarfs they encounter along the way are the
foils. Yeah,
basically the same thing. Just let's do a little bit. They have a few scenes where the dwarfs do something, but it's not relevant to the story other than here's a little side humor, or here's this unimportant scene that doesn't affect anything, just to show the dwarfs being dwarfs. They're not really important, but let's go look at our other sub-characters, our other huntsmen. Other than the starting, they started out as same place as our main character. They're taken as children. They grow up in this environment. That is really about it. I mean, you can assume that their story is similar to the main characters up to the point where he separates, but nothing more is explained about any of the huntsmen. And for those that just sit there in the background, that's fine, whatever. But the other huntsman, his name was Toll. I felt that a little bit more could be explained about him. He was singled out early on, and he seems to be friends with the main character, but nothing more than, you're my friend, be my friend. That's it. These characters have nothing to stand on their own. They're the millions of people in the background that add little or nothing to the story, and the part that they do add, it doesn't feel like they have personalities to go with it. But rant over. They are sub characters, so I can give them some leeway. I just wish these sub characters felt more like characters and less like props.
Yeah, unfortunately. But other than that, the action scenes were fairly well done. They were really entertaining. And the visuals that were presented in this movie, well, I mean, there's a lot of compare and contrast with Elsa from Frozen, but
Let it go.
Yeah, I think someone said let it go to her. She'd probably kill them. But pretty much, I mean, she has ice powers and she uses them. She's pretty prevalent with that. There's a lot of in-betweens, and there's a group of goblins that are actually showed up, and they look kind of like something like satyrs. But, I mean, they looked fairly interesting.
I think the goblins looked really cool. Especially the one, there is sort of an important goblin. He doesn't say anything, but he's apparently a lord or a king or something, because he's the only one that has big ass horns. The rest of them have little nub horns, but now I've never seen a goblin with horns, really, but he was bigger and more badass than the other goblins.
But I like that they took the story of goblins and made their own creatures out of it. I mean, they looked really cool. The only thing that, that was kind of silly was how they die in their blood. But
whatever.
Yeah, moving on. Overall, the visuals were fairly well. There were a couple of scenes where there were, creatures in the forest that stood out, like, blireringly, like this little squirrel is, like, freaking bright red. It's like, this thing does not look real. Get off the screen!
You wouldn't live in a real forest, you'd be eaten by predators. On top of that, very specifically, some things we saw that were horrible. A lot of the CGI and graphics and stuff looked great, but there were parts where there were frozen people. Obviously, it's going to happen. She has ice power. But these frozen people didn't look frozen. They looked like they were covered in styrofoam.
Yeah, if you remember Mortal Kombat, when Sub-Zero froze somebody, you could see the person there. But when she froze somebody, they kind of become like Marshmallow Man with spikes out of it.
Yeah, it looked horrible, and that's bad because like all our other ice powers and all of this stuff is see-through ice. They make it a point where like, look, you can see through this ice. Look at this ice, you can see through it. Look, it's clear because that's the consistency of ice. Except for when you freeze people in it, apparently, and make dwarf sickles.
Or people sickles.
Or people sickles, yeah. Now, I'm not going to go into our rants overall, but though we together found the movie somewhat entertaining, him more than me, I do not myself recommend it in the theaters. Maybe with a group of friends would be a good night, but I would personally I would personally recommend this be something that you get and you watch at home when it comes out to DVD or rent. It could be fun for a night, but I don't think it's worth the price of admission at the theaters.
And for the first time, I disagree because I actually think it was fairly good. Even though, we were both sitting there laughing at, how easy it was to read through the plot. We do that all the time, though. And this movie felt like a adventure. It felt like a quest. It felt like a fairy tale, which is what it was. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of, old jokes and a lot of overused themes, but I was entertained for the most part of this movie, and I rarely got distracted to the point where I want to look at my clock and go the hell away. I was entertained, and I would recommend seeing this movie.
So you would recommend going check it in theaters?
I would. I think it's good enough to warrant a $10 ticket.
All right. Well, agree to disagree. You'll have to make your own decision on it from what we've tried to do without spoiling it. But go whatever. And I hope if you do go, I hope you enjoy it. Our next checkup, since we're gamers, in addition to everything else, there is a Ratchet and Clank movie. Now,
but no, don't just say it's a Ratchet and Clank movie. You have to say who's in it. Paul Giamatti, John Goodman, and Sylvester Stallone. I don't think any of them are actually the main characters, but just having those three people in there, I kind of need to go see this movie.
Now, I've only played one of the Ratchet and Clank games, so I can't... It's probably not even based on that, but the thing that always concerns me is movies based off video games are notorious for being bad.
Yep.
But we're going to find out for ourselves. Come along. It's the 29th that we're going to see that?
Yeah, 29th. No, that's next Friday, so we'll see it's the 28th.
28th.
Yep.
But, as always, if you enjoy our rant about the movie, go ahead and click the like button below. We'd really appreciate it. And if you want to hear more of our rants, go ahead and click subscribe. So you can also check out some of the gaming stuff that's done, as well as music and other videos that we have on the channel. We'll see you next time.
See ya.